Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
You're listening to the Yank and Kiwi podcast. Available everywhere on the net.
It sort of is. I say the Yank and Kiwi podcast has returned. It technically has, and it has, but it also hasn't. The podcast is back. There is a Kiwi, but it is not Sam. The Kiwi that is with me today is our mutual friend, whom you guys may have remembered from our Simpsons episode. If you haven't listened to that episode, you ought to be listening to that. Why are you here? Say hello to Deantay.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for having me, Brett.
Yes, Deantay was kind enough to fill in for Sam while he gets his shit worked out. So, yeah. I'll have to figure out how you play off my intro of saying that I am the handsome and charismatic one.
That's a good one. I'm just a guy who likes to be here.
Well, actually, you're also the guy with very boring taste in liquor.
Yeah, that too. That can work.
Yes,
I can work with that.
Yeah, tell the good people listening, Deantay, just what is your drink of choice?
Jim Beam. And that's it.
See what I mean, guys? But yes, Deantay and I plan to imbibe a little of the spirits tonight. And I've got at least 4 different kinds of liquor with me. I have Southern Comfort Whiskey, I have Jose Cuervo, I have UV Blue, raspberry flavored, and Blue Curacao. 2 of which you guys may remember from my Blue Bomber vid.
Oh yeah, so you're going to have one of those tonight.
It's delicious. I think I'll start off with the Blue Curacao just because
That sounds good.
In fact, yeah, I could use a cold drink. I don't know about the rest of you guys listening, but all week Washington has been like fucking Mordor. We've had a heat wave all week that has gotten us, on average, in the 90s. For those of you who don't use the superior American system, that's around 36 degrees Celsius.
That is very hot. That is very hot.
Yeah, actually, Deantay, what is it like in New Zealand currently?
It is nice and overcast with a cool breeze, and I'm enjoying it.
Yes, in fact, for those of you who forgot the thing about the equator line, that summer up in America is winter down in New Zealand.
That it is.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's about enough about what goes on out in my neck of the woods. Let's start off with our usual. We'll shooting the shit. In fact, let's just spend the whole episode shooting the shit. Deantay,
sounds like a plan.
Deantay, since you're the guest, what have y'all been doing this week?
I have been, well, working a little. I've got some new videos coming up. I really need to pick up the slack on my videos. And that's pretty much been my exciting life for the week.
Can you tell us anything about the videos you're going to be making, or are you only going to drop vague hints? Do you want to keep us in the dark?
Well, yeah. I've got my Elven Leet remake, looking back at the origins, which actually goes back to a poem by Edward Meredith, which I find a bit of fascinating history. So I'm doing that. I'm also considering doing a review for the Wonder Boy Dragon's Trap remake, which I've played, and I thought is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I don't have much faith in remakes and remasters and all that, but this one definitely holds its weight. So I do wish to do a video on that at some point.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen the original.
Yeah, it was on the Sega Master System. That was back in 1989. It came out, I think. I may have my dates wrong there.
Yeah, if it was back in the 80s, then there would have been no way I could have seen it because I wasn't born until 90.
Well, fair enough. But yeah, this was an absolutely fantastic remake. So yeah, I do want to spread the word of that about in a video. So that's what I have in mind anyway.
Yeah. As for me, where video games are concerned, I've been pretty much indulging myself with either Overwatch or WWE 2K17, which I'm not going to be shy about. I fucking suck at WWE 2K17. I went into this expecting the game to work at least similarly like a fighting game in mechanics. It doesn't. There is the way wrestling games work, requires I don't want to say it's a learning curve or something, but if you think this is going to be a fighting game, you are very wrong, Maladio.
Yeah, I haven't actually played those games. I think the last one I played was 2K13, which focused on the Attitude Era. But yeah, I mean, I got the first SmackDown back in 2000, and from there, it feels like they try to evolve, but it's de-evolved. It's not as much fun. And I just remember the controls and the mechanics just got absolutely absurd for me.
Characters move kind of sluggishly.
Yeah.
The combos I think, are more complicated than they need to be. I mean, I kind of get what they want to do. They want to try to simulate what it would be like to be in a wrestling match. I understand that, because the camera angle can... I think there's no, actually, I don't think the camera angle gets all that dynamic. I mean, I get what they're trying to go for, but honestly, I think the game should prioritize being fun rather than being a simulation.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And that was its downfall, well, from the last ones I played. I mean, you just want to jump on, have a good time, get some friends, two-player. I mean, you've got the online modes now. But these mechanics are absurd, and it's really hard to get into.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, though, the customization, though, is definitely fun to play around with.
Oh, yeah, that's always been great. They still have, creative season mode, I think it was?
I think sort of, but it's more like it's My Universe, where you get to basically book an entire season of wrestling. Like, I'm talking Raw, SmackDown, NXT, the pay-per-views.
Oh, yeah.
And there's also the Create Your Own Superstars. Those are fun to play around with.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if the controls are too frustrating for you, you can just put the game on autopilot. Hey, look at it this way: you could probably book an episode of Raw better than the creative team right now.
No, that's true. No, that is a very good point, actually.
In fact, with Deantay being in here, this actually gives me an opportunity to talk about shit I can't talk about with Sam otherwise, because I like wrestling, Sam does not. Deantay and I have a mutual interest in it.
Yep. No, I must admit I'm not up to date with the current state of things.
Yeah, I keep up with it because I keep up with it too, along with my in real life friend Van. But if I remember correctly, you're a bit more old school than I am, because I'll fully admit, guys, when it comes to wrestling, I'm very much a Johnny-come-lately, and anything I do know about the shit like the Hogan era, the Attitude Era, is stuff I've learned from listening to interviews or watching old wrestling matches, or DVDs or documentaries, what have you. But Deantay, you can actually say you at least saw them when they happened, right?
Yeah. Yep. I was there for the Attitude Era. I was there for the what they call the Golden Era of Hogan and all of them.
Oh yeah, I mean, but that actually, one guy I worked with said he actually was there for the first WrestleMania.
Yeah, that was a bit before me, but I have actually seen that one.
For those of you who
when I
don't know,
can,
in that WrestleMania, Hulk Hogan fights Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff with Mr. T.
yeah, yeah. Well, Mr. T, he didn't really come back much, did he? Though.
Well, like if it's the '80s and we're talking Mr. T, I'm pretty sure he had enough 18 shekels to keep him going.
Yeah, that's true. He also had that animated series of his. It's really hard to find nowadays, but it's good for a laugh because it's so absolutely ridiculous.
Oh man, I saw. I didn't actually see it, but I saw on his Wikipedia page that it was basically a knockoff of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Which beggars the question: why didn't you just do an episode of Scooby-Doo with Mr. T?
That is a very good question, actually. I would have seen that. I would have paid to see that.
Yeah, I mean, is there anyone who hasn't guest starred on Scooby-Doo? Hell, they've done like two direct-to-DVD movies of Scooby-Doo with WWE wrestlers.
Yeah, they have. And they got that bloody, that Supernatural one coming up, which I'm not sure how it's going to go.
Which, yeah, I saw that in that Supernatural. Let's just say it has fucking jumped the shark. This is a shark jump.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although I would argue Supernatural has not been good since like I would say like season 7 was like the last decent season. But
I'll be honest, I'm surprised it has lasted this long, though. I have to give it credit for that.
I'm not surprised. If you go on Tumblr, fan base is fucking huge, and you got very attractive male leads. I'll give you 3 guesses what's keeping that show afloat.
The leads.
Well, yes, true, but it's really the largely female fan base.
Yeah, I can see that. But it feels like it's one of those shows like X-Files, you can only do so much and then it just gets rather stale. So to make it to, what, are they up to season 13 or something?
Yep. Yeah, but I believe so.
To come this far, you got to give it credit for that. It's done well.
It's successful, I'll give it that much, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we lose the plot, I mean, like, still want to talk a little more wrestling, because, Deantay,
Oh, yeah.
Let me pull something out for you, Deantay.
What's that?
Okay. I'm gonna have to forget. Now you guys can't see this, but Deantay can. And what I am holding is what does it look like to you, Deantay?
The Undertaker Deadliest Matches DVD.
Exactly. Found this in the $5 bin at Walmart.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Yeah, it's got. These are just some of the matches listed on the DVD cover. Body bag match with Ultimate Warrior.
Oh.
Buried Alive match with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
No, I remember, he did a couple of those, but yeah, I remember his main one.
Yep. Boiler Room Brawl with Mankind.
That was great. That was a great one.
Inferno match with Kane. Coffin match with Kamala.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah. But yeah, I actually saw the Boiler Room Brawl with Mankind. Holy shit, they do not do that stuff anymore.
No, I know. And even the old Hell in the Cell matches, especially his ones with Mankind, they were really good matches. I mean, dangerous as fuck, but they were entertaining as hell at the same time.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, but yeah, I mean, like that. If you got for all you youngins listening, which also kind of includes me to an extent. Yeah. But yeah, this the Boiler Room Brawl was. In the Boiler Room Brawl, it's exactly what it sounds like. You got Undertaker and you got Mankind pummeling the shit out of each other in the Boiler Room at the venue they're broadcasting that episode of Raw in. And the object of that match is to be the first man to make it to the ring.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is a match where anything goes. So they're using everything thing they can get their hands on, like just any random object they can grab, from ladders to planks of wood. But even the fucking coffee machines get used as a weapon.
Yeah. Oh, those were great matches.
Yeah, I mean, like, but the ending of that match is just like, you just get so blindsided. They completely swerve on that in that match, because they're both trying to get the urn from Paul Bearer. And it looks like Undertaker's going to win, and then Paul Bearer turns on the Undertaker.
And that was the first of many turns he does. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, turns on Taker and sides with Mankind.
I remember that. Oh, I remember the boos that came from that match as well. Everyone was just in complete shock. That was well done. That was well scripted, that match.
If I remember correctly, I mean, since this was the Attitude, this would have been back when Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara were booking the matches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say, I mean, like, the WWE lost a talent in Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they did, because he left Vince Russo. There was that whole thing with what happened to Owen Hart, and he took a lot of flack for that, which was a bit unfair.
Yeah.
And then, so he left, and then they started to do that whole invasion storyline, and for me, that's when things started to go a bit south for the wrestling.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, they still had some good stuff during the Ruthless Aggression era, like,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But you could see it changing.
yeah. Although, I mean, like, although I think if I remember correctly, Vince Russo also kind of left the company because I think, like, WCW made him a better offer. I don't think it was all down to the thing with Owen Hart. I mean,
yeah, that was the start of it. Anyway, yeah, that was that was the start of it.
It was at least the start, and I think he just wanted a little. I think he wanted a little more money, maybe just more creative control, and he felt like he would get that with WCW. Unfortunately, what Russo was unprepared for was just how political everything was behind the scenes at WCW.
Yeah.
Yeah, in his own words, he walked into WCW with a target on his back.
Yeah, that would be right, because he was the one who also started the Monday Night Raw sessions as well. You know, he had that plan, which WCW didn't care for very much.
And I think a lot of it was down to the fact that I think part of it was the fact that he was originally a WWF guy, but I think what really sunk him was that he said when he was in the WWF, he was basically shielded by Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
He did not have anyone protecting him in WCW.
No, because, no. It was Eric Bischoff, wasn't it?
Eric Bischoff, Hulk Hogan, and, who else was on? I think Dusty Rhodes.
It was Ric Flair.
Kevin Nash.
Oh, yeah, Scott Hall. Of course, they didn't leave on very good terms back then.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, there were, like, several guys in the booking committee. There's actually a shoot interview where Kevin Nash talks about how stressful it was having to book for WCW. You have to see that.
Wow. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I'll link it to you. I'll link that to you later.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, please do.
Yeah, because it's a very eye-opening video, and shows how WWE basically made the same mistakes. Although I will
what
say,
was this?
What were you gonna say?
No, sorry, you go.
Yeah, I will say though, the indie circuit has a little hope, and I did get to see a couple weeks back with my friend Van. We got to go see an NXT show that was done live in Seattle. It wasn't like this wasn't an event that was going to end up on the network. It was just an in-house show. I think that's what it is. That's what That's the shows that don't get taped, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an in-house show over in Seattle. And that was actually pretty good. The crowd was electric.
It's nice.
Yeah, I mean, because, the best way I can describe NXT to you Deantay, is that NXT is basically an indie show done with WWE money.
Yeah.
And it basically does everything that regular WWE programming doesn't. Like, it rotates the talent so it stays fresh. It's straight and to the point, so it doesn't feel like it's wasting your time. And it actually grows the stars organically.
Yeah, that's where I was about to say that's where they scout for new talent as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically their minor league.
Yeah.
The way you can tell who's next up to get to the main roster is who's the current champion. And right now, the current NXT champion is Bobby Roode. The current tag team champs, I believe, are Authors of Pain, and the current women's champion is Asuka.
Asuka.
Yep. Yes. She is a Japanese chick who is a beast in the ring.
Wow.
She's actually held her title longer than Goldberg's streak.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, although I will say this, because she's Japanese, let's just say her promos have one or two issues.
Do I ask?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the issues?
Well, she's gotten better, but her English still needs work.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you.
Like, she had this one promo where she was talking about, like, I am the best women's champion in NXT history, and I'm so sorry that there's no one who can beat me. Now that's me paraphrasing it, how she said it. How she actually said it was, I'm so sorry. And the whole crowd went, she's so sorry. She's so sorry.
Oh god, that's gonna stick with her now, isn't it?
You really want to get racist? Van and I when we were looking for parking, we actually saw her and No Way Jose cross the street at an intersection we were trying to get through. We could see her right from our car. She is fucking short. Like, I got at least 9 inches on her.
Oh shit.
I know. If you really want to get stereotypical, they got a Scottish guy, Drew McIntyre. He's got to have at least 1 foot over me.
Drew McIntyre. No, don't know that name. I have to look these people up, eh?
Yeah, Drew. Well, the thing is with Drew McIntyre actually has a very interesting history with WWE. He actually used to wrestle on the main roster, but then he got let go, and now they brought him back into NXT.
So that's a bit of a downgrade, isn't it?
Yeah, sort of. I think what originally went wrong is they kind of hot-shotted him, like pushed him before he was ready. But
yeah.
Which that has happened before.
Remember? Yeah, Brock Lesnar.
Or I can go even further, Deantay. Lex Luger.
Oh yeah.
Lex Luger should serve as a warning to WWE create what happens when you push a star too fast too soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty bad, wasn't he? And then WCW made the same bloody mistake with him.
I mean, he looked good, but couldn't really wrestle, could not really cut a promo.
No.
In other words, he was basically the Attitude Era's version of Roman Reigns.
Yep. God, do you remember Lex Luger in that NWO team, the Wolfpack?
I remember that the NWO split off and formed the Wolfpack. That was with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall leading it.
Yeah, Kevin Nash at first, but Scott Hall joined later. But they'd have Lex Luger, Sting, and I forget who the other ones were. But they would not let Lex Luger do a thing. He was just there to make up the numbers and nothing more.
This makes it sound like what DEX did with Hornswoggle, except it's...
Oh my god.
If you guys didn't see this, there was a storyline where Hornswoggle actually tried to get into D-Generation X when they came back, and well, they wouldn't really let him in, and so he sued them in Little People's Court. It's full of a bunch of short people jokes. It had ended with DX making Hornswoggle their mascot.
Oh god.
At least with Hornswoggle, you knew it was supposed to be a joke.
Yeah.
You want to talk about not PC? Oh man, they did. Hornswoggle was supposed to be a leprechaun character.
That's right.
And he's a
Because he was with
dwarf.
And then they made him Vince McMahon's son for some reason.
Well, the funny story behind that is like the original storyline was supposed to, Mr. Kennedy was supposed to be revealed to be McMahon's son. Then he had a steroid thing happen.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
He failed the wellness policy, and so they had to kick him out and rewrite it. And so they look and say, "Oh, what do we do? We've been teasing this illegitimate child angle. Well, we gotta go with somebody. We could go with this hot up and coming guy named CM Punk over in ECW, or we could go with Hornswoggle and make it hilarious. Yeah, they'll love it. Let's go with Hornswoggle."
That was a disaster. That was fucking terrible, that story. Though, can you imagine what the repercussions would have been if they did go as a CM Punk being McMahon's son, considering how it ended with him?
Yeah, I know. That would have... Although, WWE creative seems to operate on this mentality that the fans don't remember for a storyline that happened like 2 weeks ago.
No, that's true. That is true.
But man, I mean, I know how it ended with CM Punk, but who knows how it could have gone in a completely different direction. And by the way, wait guys, they were not actually considering CM Punk to be Vince McMahon's son. I only threw that out to make a joke.
Yeah, we're just talking hypothetically there.
But yeah, that actually could have been interesting though, because you would have built up.
Yeah.
Because like I said, at that time, CM Punk was hot over in ECW, and he could have, and not only could they have given him a really good push for his career, they could have lent a lot more credibility over to ECW, make it more special.
Yeah, but he had Paul Heyman's backing there. That was a problem, and of course, Paul Heyman butted heads with Vince McMahon again. So
yeah. Oh man, you really want to know how badly they messed up with ECW? I think Shane actually wanted to try running ECW, and I think even considered trying to push it as a web show. I mean, like, Shane seems to be the only guy right now who's got his finger on the pulse of what the fans want.
yeah,
And it's such a shame that he is not going to be the guy to take over when Vince actually dies, because we know he's going to run that company till he dies. He is not going to quit.
and even then, there's going to be fucking Stephanie and Hunter to deal with, and those two on a big power trip.
Yeah, Triple H.
He was a good wrestler, but he's not manager material. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and the thing is, Triple H seems to be more interested in the business side of wrestling these days than the actual wrestling.
Yeah.
Although he is doing well with how he's running NXT. I'll give it.
Well, that might actually be a good place for him because he can pick up on new talent, and that's where he's most reliable.
In fact, that's actually kind of why we're getting guys like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and other NXT guys up on the main roster, because Triple H is the only guy who's got Vince McMahon's ear, and he's the only one. So he's basically convincing Vince, hey. No, wait, let me see if I can get it right. Hey, Vince, try this guy Finn Balor. I think he's a good talent. He'll draw crowds. You really should give him a chance. Well, you're my son-in-law. You're married to my daughter. I think I will listen to you.
That's the logic of it, though, sadly.
Yep. Thank Vince, thank Triple H that these NXT guys are getting pushes at all.
Yeah, I'm not so sure who will take the reins after Vince. I mean, Shane would be a good choice, but there's going to be a big power struggle over it for sure.
I think, if I'm being honest, I mean, I think given the choice, Shane would probably walk out of his dad's shadow.
Yeah.
Because he was actually doing pretty well running that cable company over in China. In fact, I believe it was the most successful cable company in China.
Wow. Yeah, that is good.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure Shane wouldn't want to leave the wrestling business behind completely, but he strikes me as a guy who would rather do his own thing.
Yeah. We did leave for a few years.
Yeah.
Left us with fucking the other McMahons and Linda, who wanted to push her politics and all
her
that.
Senate career, and now she's running a small business organization in Trump's cabinet. Which, yeah, good for her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good for her, but the thing is they have to keep the squeaky clean look for her sake as well, which, fair enough, but
yeah, I get that.
As far as the entertainment value goes, it drops in quality.
Actually, if you want to, speaking of wrestlers and politics, Kane is actually currently running for mayor out in Knox County, Tennessee.
What?
I am not bullshitting you. Kane is running for mayor out in Knox County, Tennessee, and he's running as a Republican.
Fuck me. Wow. I mean, I don't actually know his views on things. I'm going to have to look that up as well, but yeah.
I think Sam told me he's actually checked out some of his more political speeches, and he's actually found him quite agreeable.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting, actually.
Yeah. And I think Rhino's actually talked about running for Senate over in Michigan, State Senate, not the DC Senate.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, Jesse Ventura was governor of Minnesota for a while.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess it can happen.
Well, wrestling business is actually more political than people would actually imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean,
yeah,
by
that's
that I mean,
think
I'm not
about it.
talking like Democrat, Republican politics. I'm talking that it has its own set of politics that you gotta learn to maneuver through. While we're still on wrestling, Deantay, are there any good angles that come to mind, like angles that you really liked when you were watching?
I remember the corporate Ministry of Darkness type stuff. That was pretty interesting, and you had your two sides going at it, because that involved, like, back then WWF, it had a pretty small roster, but you knew who everyone was, and they were using everyone. That was actually really planned well. I mean, you saw everyone in matches. There wasn't the jobbers and all that, everyone. Well, there was the different ranks, your heavyweight, your cruiserweight, all of that stuff was still there, but everyone was being used to the best that they could, and there was no wrestlers that were being overlooked. I thought that was actually a really good way of doing things.
Yeah, and of course, there was also the Stone Cold McMahon feud. That's classic.
That is. And then there was your DX return the year after, and it tried to mimic what the corporate ministry had done the year prior, because this was in 2000 now, but it couldn't quite get there because The Rock was still in the limelight. And of course, Mick Foley had just retired, and then they were trying to push Chris Jericho, and he had a feud with Chris Benoit, but in the end, it would always come down to The Rock and Triple H, and everyone was getting shut out. And then Austin came back because they had that so-called storyline when he got hit by the car, which was probably not the smartest thing they could have done. And that just led into the invasion. And the invasion was...
And the reveal for who it was that ran Austin over.
Fucking Rikishi.
For The Rock.
That's right.
Oh, but,
I did it for the...
Actually, The Rock actually made fun of that in a promo. I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. I did it. Oh, shut your mouth, you thought-wearing fatty. Actually, if you want to... go on.
I was going to say, that never stopped, because Rikishi was he was a heel for about 3 or 4 months after that, and then come the following year, mid-year, it was completely forgotten. He was back to being a face, and he was back with Too Cool, and everyone just seemed to forget that he had run over Austin, apparently.
Yeah. And speaking of DX, if you want to see them come back even worse, just look up DX in, I think, 2006 or 2007?
Oh, God, yeah. When it was him and Shawn.
Yep, and for perspective, this is Triple H and Shawn when they're 40-year-old men. Doing stuff they were doing in their 20s and 30s.
Yep. With this fucking cheesy humor, which it was never that bad when they were first in DX. This was so forced.
Yeah, like they were
around that time.
Yeah, I mean, DX was offensive, but it kind of there was context to make it fit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this time they were just coming off as really fucking juvenile.
It was so fucking scripted, and it was just fake. You could see right through it. It was so bad done.
It was like something out of a bad YouTube video circa 2007.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God, that was such a fucking disaster. And then, of course, like you said before, they got fucking Hornswoggle as a member.
And now, the only time we do see DX is when they just do like little reunion specials like they did for the 1000th episode where they brought back Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, and X-Pac. It was just them just doing a reunion to celebrate the 1000th episode of Raw.
Did they do anything of interest, or was just them talking a bunch of stuff in the ring?
It was just mostly them talking. Like they just come out with this real. They come out. You got Triple H and Shawn coming out of the ring in a tank, and then they get the crowd riled up, and then Triple H says, "Wait, are we forgetting somebody?" Oh yeah, that's right. We had other guys, and then the New Age Outlaws and X-Pac show up in a Jeep. They hug it all out, and say, 1000th episode of Raw, and hopefully we'll be there when we get to 2000. Which, yeah, okay,
and then
that's not bad.
Yeah.
Oh, remember when they did that whole invading WCW storyline?
Yeah, and they drove the fucking tank up to them.
We had a cannon, and it's like Triple H is trying to order them like generals. Funny thing, Road Dogg, he actually was in the Marine Corps during Desert Storm.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just fucking balls, and the good kind of balls.
Of course, WCW wasn't expecting it because that actually interfered with their show because they had to lock the gates.
Yep.
See, that wouldn't have gone in fucking Vince Russo's favor when he went over as well.
Oh, yeah. I imagine.
Because, yeah, that's how the whole Monday Night Raw era started and led to the Austins and McMahon feuds and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that tank driving up to WCW was really the starting point.
Yeah, I think a lot of people seem to say it's when Lex Luger appeared on that episode of Monday Nitro.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see where they're coming with that actually, but yeah, fucking tank, Jesus.
That's just awesome.
It was.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I think they do not do that shit like that anymore, and I don't think they could, and this was something Van and I kind of talked about when we were driving back from Seattle, that the reason they couldn't do this stuff anymore is for two things. One, the wrestling industry has changed a lot since those days, and so has WWE as a company.
Yeah.
I mean, WWE is not the same company it was even 10 years ago.
No, absolutely not.
And the wrestling business is not the same as it was 10 years ago either. Like, it was a whole different thing.
Thing was, fucking 10 years ago, and I think, yeah, it would have been around this time the stuff with Chris Benoit happened.
Well, yeah, not only that, like, yeah, I think in around 2007, you had TNA trying to make a name for itself and sort of be an alternative to WWE. Almost a,
yeah.
I almost botched that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, we all know how it ended up for TNA. They have had this roller coaster when it comes to consistency. Like, there would be weeks where it was better than WWE and weeks where it was objectively worse. I mean, at least with WWE, it wasn't good, but at least it was consistent. It's like...
Yeah, I remember they got into a tug-of-war fight over the Hardy Boys because TNA was pushing Jeff Hardy, and then WWE wanted Jeff Hardy back, so they brought him back and then they pushed him, but then TNA wanted him back, so they pushed him even more, try and really get him up there.
And then they sort of got like a shot in the arm with Matt's broken thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Which I've heard kind of good things about it. The best thing that came out of that whole angle was that Matt kind of finally found his feet.
Yeah.
I mean, that was always kind of the problem Matt had. Like, as a singles competitor, Matt was always kind of stuck in Jeff's shadow.
Yeah, he had that heel run on WWE for a while, and he was like this really cocky. He was basically doing what Edge and Christian were doing, and it just wasn't working for him.
And then there was that whole feud he had with Kane, which we all know how that ended.
Yep.
The funny thing was, like, oh man, yeah. You want to know what's really fucked up about this?
What's that?
That was actually based on something that actually happened backstage.
What?
Lita actually cheated on Matt, but
that's right.
It wasn't with Kane, it was with Edge.
Yeah, and then they tried to push. That's right, I remember that. And they did the live sex segment on during a show.
Well,
And then, of course, Lita had the nipple slap, and there was so much backlash to that.
oh my,
And then, yeah, they tried to push a fight between Edge and Matt Hardy, which was actually a real thing, and they used it for the fucking promo. I remember that.
yeah. Yeah, because what was originally getting set up with this feud was that Kane had sex with Lita so that he wouldn't hurt Matt or something, and Kane got Lita pregnant.
Oh, that's right. And then she said she lost the baby, and it just went completely fucking off the rails.
Oh man! Especially for added balls out insanity, they had Lita marry Kane.
There was that other guy there too. Oh fuck, who was it? I forget his name, and he had the feet fetish, and he was going after Kane.
Oh man, I do not remember.
Oh, he was the one who was supposed to have suplexed Lita or something. He slammed Lita, and that was supposed to have started the miscarriage for the baby. I forget his fucking name, and he had this fetish with feet, and of course it went on to Edge being with Lita, and Edge was saying, you know, if you do this for me, I'll let you smell Lita's feet or some shit. It was so fucking weird. I forget the guy's name though.
It's probably best nobody remembers who he is.
Oh, I gotta look this up. I've got to try and remember who this guy was. Snitsky or something. Snitsky. Gene Snitsky.
Holy shit.
That was his name. I just remembered.
Oh man. But yeah, they do not do those balls out insane angles anymore, and they really couldn't nowadays because WWE's gotten too big. Now it kind of now has to appeal to the lowest common denominator. It does, even though WWE is in this weird place where it's trying to appeal to the mass market, but at the same time appease the hardcore audience, and it's not pleasing either. If you guys want to know what WWE is doing wrong as far or as its brand is going, there's a video by Razor Fist where he talks about building a better WWE on Vince Russo's channel. Recommend you guys watch that.
Yeah, those two have some good insights actually.
Well, yeah. Razor Fist comes at them, knows what the fans want, and Russo knows the product because he helped make it.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out.
Yeah. Another thing I don't think we're ever gonna see WWE do anymore is really over-the-top theatrical gimmicks. Like, I'm looking at these. But the only one who's really theatrical, and this is like only some of the time, is Finn Balor.
Finn Balor.
Yeah, he only does this part. He has this demon persona he brings out like only once a month.
No, that's actually a little interesting.
But yeah.
Huh. Do you remember the Boogeyman? It was about 10 years ago, I think, and he wasn't actually wrestle, but they started him off as a wrestler, but they just made him this gimmick. He would just jump out at people at random, and then he kind of disappeared.
But yeah, over-the-top theatrical gimmicks, they don't do that anymore. They don't have wrestlers doing stuff like that anymore. They're just... they have characters, but they don't have personalities.
Yeah.
You can just look at the Hogan era or the Attitude era, and they're still kind of theatrical. Let's just list off a couple guys from, say, the Hogan era. You got Hulk Hogan, who's like the ultimate American man.
Yep.
Yeah,
that was his push.
Say your prayers, eat your vitamins. Herman's brother. You get Roddy Piper, who is this crazy It's these Scotsmen.
That's right.
You got
And then the
Macho
Iron
Man-
Sheik.
Yeah, you got the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Who really is a Macho Man. You got Ric Flair, who was a playboy.
Yep.
You got the
That,
Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah. It was British Bulldog and always carrying the fucking English flag everywhere he went.
You got the Iron Sheik.
Yeah, he was great.
Sheik. You got
He was fucking great.
yeah, and of course, yeah, the Undertaker started in that era.
Yeah. And then, of course, you have fucking Sergeant Slaughter, who's like the hard military man,
Oh yeah.
barking out orders and all that.
And I mean, then you get to the Attitude Era, where not as theatrical or over the top, but it is over the top, and now it's a lot more gritty. You got
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think this is when they start using more personality and less character. But what works is that the wrestlers have so much personality. They like,
Yeah.
I mean, like The Rock.
Oh, he had the charisma, easy. He
wasn't a good wrestler, but he had the mic skills to get him over, where he could make anything work.
yeah, he could get the crowd all worked up and cheering or booing, whatever he wanted. He was really good.
You had Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was just a rebel with no cause, and just like, that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so.
Yep.
You got DX, or just a bunch of hoodlums.
Yeah, that would be a good way to sum them up.
I mean, like even the individual members had tons of personality. I mean, like Road Dogg and Billy Gunn.
New Age Outlaws, yep.
Yeah. And then there's Kane, who's fucking scary.
Yeah, the fucking earlier King was great, up until he lost his mask.
Yeah. Yeah, in 2001. But yeah. I mean, like if you guys have not seen Kane's debut, it is one of the most legitimate scary moments in WWE in wrestling.
Oh yeah, that was fucking really, really good.
Oh, Gangrel.
Gangrel, the Brood, Edge,
Yeah,
and Christian who came
they were
in.
fucking vampires.
Yeah, and then there was the Acolytes.
Yeah, Bradshaw and Farouk.
Yep.
Yeah, in fact, Nation of Domination had tons of personality too.
Yeah, they were.
Like they were supposed to do this take on the Black Panthers crossed with the Nation of Islam.
That would fucking never work today.
The funny thing is with the New Day, they thought when they were originally putting the New Day together, they thought this was supposed to be another take on the Nation of Domination.
Yeah, the New Day.
The New Day is it's a tag team made up of Big E Langston, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods. They're kind of a bunch of goofballs.
Okay.
They're all about the power of positivity.
Oh god.
There was one in WrestleMania where, I shit you not, they jumped out of a giant cereal box dressed as Saiyans.
Saiyans.
Yes. As in Dragon Ball Z.
Jesus.
Yeah, Xavier Woods is a big time nerd. He's got a YouTube gaming channel called, I think it's Up Up Down Down.
Upper. Oh my god.
Like I said, with the Attitude Era, they start getting away from although there was one other guy in the Attitude Era who was very over the top and very theatrical. Gold Dust.
Oh yeah.
Which, if you guys have not seen this, he's got a match with Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, they're the same guy, where he gives him a homoerotic rub down in the middle of the match.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
With the attitude era, you can kind of see that they're moving away from these really over-the-top personas that are also very theatrical. They're moving to more letting the wrestlers, just basing it more on the wrestlers' own personalities, but it works out just because the wrestlers have so much personality.
Going back to the Attitude Era, there was one that was on Goldust level, and that was Val Venus, whose whole skit is that he was this ex-porn star.
Oh, yes. His finisher was known as the money shot.
He used to fucking come out with a towel and shit. It was like, hello, ladies.
Oh, man. Yeah. And then they move into the Ruthless Aggression era where they're just... I guess you can more say it's the Attitude Era, but watered down. Not as violent, not as graphic. Wrestlers don't have as much personality, but they still got plenty to get by with. And they, of course, this is also when they start prioritizing more athleticism over personality. Because, I mean, this is the era where guys like Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero were getting over.
Yeah. Yeah, because they were the champions for each of their brands at one point, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
Eddie Guerrero had SmackDown and Benoit was Raw.
And this is also the era where John Cena comes in. And back when he was the Doctor of Thugonomics. Yeah.
And he only had a fucking one heel run, and that was when he went to the street thug type thing.
Yeah, he had a street fight with Eddie Guerrero, I think.
Yeah. And then, of course, they're not going to make him heel anymore because of his fucking charity work and that, which I can understand, but...
plus, he's the biggest draw for the kids.
Yeah, but now he's just stuck in one place. There's no... Yeah, that's a bit of a downer for him.
And let's be honest, how old is John Cena right now? He's one in his 40s.
I don't know. He's been wrestling for, must be 16 years now for WWE?
Yeah, let's see. He's 40.
Wow.
Yeah, he does not have much wrestling left in him.
No, not the way he goes, because you got to give it to him. He fucking works as hard as he can for them. Yeah, fucking gives them the role, like him or not.
Yeah, I mean, I will never take that away from him. He's a guy who works hard. All the people who work there, they do work hard, and it takes a certain level of physical and mental toughness to be a wrestler, because you are getting thrown on your back, and it is not gentle. You have got to be able to take a lot of punishment to be a wrestler, and it takes its toll on you. Yeah,
it does. I mean, most of them don't live very fucking long lives. How the fuck Ric Flair is still going is beyond me, to be honest.
Well, he's not wrestling anymore. Now he's more serving in a managerial capacity.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Still, he fucking went for a fucking long time.
Yeah, same with Hulk Hogan. There was I have expected there to be a match where Hulk Hogan's back would just give out in the middle. That would have been funny. That would have been a funny botch, though. One of the funny, I can just oh, my back, brother.
Oh god, do you fucking remember on WCW Sid Vicious when he fucking tried to do the arm lock from the top of the turnbuckle, jump down, and his leg just fucking snapped like a twig?
Oh man.
I saw that when it was fucking on TV and it was live and uncut. Holy shit, his leg, you literally saw the fucking bottom of his leg just fold up and the bones stick out from the skin.
Holy shit, man.
His leg, it just crumpled. He jumped off the top of the turnbuckle. He had this guy in an arm lock, and he was going to jump down and just elbow him in the shoulder. But the way he lands on his list, it was his left or right? I can't remember which fucking leg, but it just fucking folds under him and bends under the knee.
Oh, man.
Like a fucking twig.
Oh, man. man, have you ever seen what happens when when Kevin Nash tears his quad?
Oh my! Yes, I've seen that.
Kevin Nash is just walking to I think he was going with their Booker T, and his leg just gives out because his quad tears. And thus, the meme was born. Watch this video, tears quad.
That happened to fucking Triple H too. It was Triple H and Austin, and they were in a tag team match against Jericho and Benoit. And Triple H tore the top of his quads. Jericho didn't know this had happened and stuck him in the fucking walls of Jericho. And he's fucking screaming out, "Let me go, let me go." Fuck.
Oh, but if you want the botch to rule them all. Royal Rumble 2005. John Cena and Batista.
The double elimination.
The Batista bomb, and both of them go over the top rope, thus eliminating themselves from the Rumble. They both get in. Everyone's confused. Everyone's thinking, "Oh fuck, what are we supposed to do now?" And Vince just angrily storms. He is pissed. He is furious. And he throws the boy into the ring and tears both his quads.
That's right, and he fucking collapses.
He just sits in the corner and he's just still trying to bark out orders.
Oh, that's right. He's just fucking sitting there in the fucking ring. Oh god.
Oh man.
Of course.
I want a good laugh. It's just.
Yeah, that was fucking.
Work of art for botches.
That whole fucking Royal Rumble was a botch, because the double elimination wasn't meant to happen. Vince hurting his leg wasn't meant to happen. And then earlier that night, Austin did the stunner on Linda McMahon, and he completely fucked it up. And she just looked around for a bit and then just dropped. Because he went to grab her, and he didn't quite get around there, so he was stunning midair. He goes down, Linda looks around, and then just drops like... That was the most fucked up Royal Rumble in terms of botches anyway.
Yeah. Like I said, where botches are concerned, it's a work of art.
Yeah. That one was fucking top class.
Oh man. But yeah. No, but yeah, well, where else is like going? Oh yeah, now we go into the what's the era between the ruthless aggression era and what they're calling the new era? Fuck, I don't know. I mean, like,
It was the PG, wasn't it?
oh yeah, I guess that's about right. I mean, like, this is when even the hardcore fans have to start admitting that the cracks are showing, because they toned down the violence, they seriously toned down the language, and because and the wrestlers have even less personality than they did before, although you do have some guys who are still pretty good standouts from this time. Like you got CM Punk, you still got Hardy, you got Jeff Hardy, you still got Chris Jericho. You got The Rock, who still makes an appearance when he's not making movies.
Yeah. Is he still in it?
Yeah, he's still Rock is. I think the thing is, like, Rock will make an appearance like at WrestleMania, or he'll just make special guest appearances. But I think the last time he wrestled was this match he had against John Cena at WrestleMania.
Okay. Yeah, I remember they built those ones up pretty big.
Yeah.
Well, they built it up for a fucking year, didn't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
also around the time where the IWC or Internet Wrestling community starts, let's just say, getting more attention than they probably deserve.
Yeah.
Because what the Internet Wrestling community is made up of is mostly smarks. Now, if you guys who don't know your wrestling terminology, a smark is what's known as a smart mark, which, and a mark is a fan. A smart mark is someone who will, in the middle of a match call fake, that's fake, or they're the guys who ruin it for everybody.
Yeah.
And the smarks think they're in on something. Yeah. And so they think what they want. A lot of these guys have massive nostalgia boners for the Attitude Era.
Yeah. It was a good era, but they take it too far.
It was, but it could only happen at that time, and dudes.
Yeah.
Enough, and the reason why the Attitude Era isn't coming back, guys, is because the business has changed. The company has changed. It's not like it was back in the Attitude Era. Everything's different now.
No, the fucking Attitude Era could not work today.
Yeah.
It can never work today.
It wouldn't. Not just because of the political climate. I just don't think, just because of how the business has changed over the years, it's not something that would get over nowadays.
Yeah. Plus, you wouldn't have the, like you said, the wrestlers have lost their personality. You wouldn't have the ones with the charisma that could carry themselves on that alone.
Yeah, well, nowadays they seem to prioritize athleticism over personality.
And that's actually fair enough, to be honest.
Don't get me wrong. Athleticism is good. Your wrestlers should be athletic, but the thing is, I like wrestlers with personality because I'm not a guy who understands the intricacies of the physicality of wrestling. I don't understand.
Fair, yeah.
So the wrestlers with personality are what draw in the normies like me.
Yeah.
If you're not going to have characters, at least make sure your wrestlers have personality, and that is unfortunately not a lot of them these days. I think you got Seth Rollins, he's just arrogant. In fact, for a while, they made the stupid decision to try and cast him as the second coming of Shawn Michaels.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's sort of the thing. Like, he was taught, like, he would. Here's a funny thing about how that it wasn't actually an angle. It was just kind of like a role they were sort of giving him. And I can kind of see it. He's about as much of a technician as Shawn Michaels is. His character's pretty fucking arrogant, just like Shawn Michaels.
Yep.
But there was like one promo where he was talking to Shawn. He'd say like, I'm the new you. And Shawn responds with, when I was starting out, it never occurred to me to be the second coming of anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then, there's Dean Ambrose, he's got plenty of personality, but he's kind of downgraded from being crazy to just being goofy. Although he's still...
I hate when they do that.
Although he's still kind of got the best mic skills. Those are the current roster. I'll grant him that. Let's see, there's Kevin Owens, who's very athletic for a guy his size. Like, he's kind of fat and chubby.
Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah, he can move, though, pretty well, but he's just kind of a trash talker, just not like Stone Cold or anything. He's just like, I just do what I want. And he kind of had a thing going when he was like teamed up with Jericho for a while. Do not know what the fuck Finn Balor's thing is. Like, I think Razorfist kind of spelled it out on Twitter. Like, when he's got the jacket on, he's Cody Rhodes, and when he's got the makeup on, he's Boogeyman. At least Sheamus got more personality than Finn Balor, even though if he's just playing a stereotypical Irishman.
Sheamus.
Yeah, Sheamus is still around.
Wow. I kind of thought he was boring, to be honest. Just me.
I know. I am biased towards Sheamus because he is one of my co-ethnics. Same with.
Well, was that other Irish one, Finlay?
Oh yeah.
I liked him.
Yeah. They got another Irish chick named Becky Lynch. She's kind of.
I know the name.
Yeah, she's kind of Actually, I'm not really sure what her personality is. She was like one of the 4 horsewomen who was like they were this group of female wrestlers over in NXT who sort of gave the women's division more exposure, made it more important.
Were they trying to copy the 4 horsemen that Ric Flair used to do?
Well, there's a reason for that because Charlotte, Ric Flair's daughter, was part of that group.
Okay. Well, all right, I'll give them that. That can work. I'll give them that.
Yeah. There was with Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and Bayley. Actually, I can tell you what Bayley's personality is. She's like this cheerful, bubbly chick, she'll hug fans in the audience, which that's nice.
Well, do you remember when they used to do that Diva Search?
I think I remember seeing commercials for that on TV once.
The first one of that, I think her name was Chrissy or something. She used to do that.
Yeah.
They never actually had a wrestling after she won, but she'd, come down the ring all prancy and that, and she'd give people hugs, and then she'd manage mostly. But yeah, she sounded very much like that person you were talking about.
Yeah, but yeah, Bayley's just like, that's just her whole thing. She's all happy-go-lucky.
Yeah. Sounds like the same person. Same type of persona, I should say.
Yeah, with Sasha Banks, she's kind of bossy, a little arrogant. But let's see, who else is there?
Do they still have the twins?
Nikki and Bella. No, Nikki and it's the Bella twins. Nikki and what's the other one? I can't remember. I know it's the Bella twins, but I can't remember the other ones.
Hold on, look it up. Bella twins.
Nikki and Brie. Nikki and Brie.
Yeah.
That was it.
Brie Bella, Nikki Bella. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, both of them are married to John Cena and Daniel Bryan. I think one of them has a baby, actually.
Oh, that's right. They did that fucking stupid reality show, Life with the Bellas. Oh, God.
I think I forget which one, but I know it's the one that's married to Daniel Bryan. Oh, by the way, UV Blue is good vodka. Although, I doubt I could get Sam to drink this because it's sweet and Sam hates the sweet drinks.
Yeah, he said that.
Yep. Seems with Sam, the more bitter or more it tastes like gasoline, the better. In fact, I even asked him, "How do you like whiskey straight or on the rocks?" And he said, "Straight."
Yeah, that'd be him.
Yeah, it's a very Sam thing to do. Before we keep, we've been talking about wrestling for about how long?
An hour, roughly.
This you'll like, Deantay. I know for a fact that
Yes.
you're a huge fan of Lion Force Voltron.
Yes.
Have you seen Voltron Legendary Defender on Netflix?
I have not, because I don't have Netflix.
Well, you should, because they just added a 3rd season.
Is it yeah, I've been hearing some good things about that.
Yeah. I mean, like, I could not tell you how it measures up to the original Lion Force Voltron because I unfortunately did not grow up watching it. But
The thing was, the original Lion Force Voltron and Vehicle Voltron, they were based on a couple of animes that weren't about Voltron. There was
like
no
Robotech?
fucking... What?
So it was like Robotech or something?
It was, I'm not too sure what the original Japanese storyline, but the Lion Voltron was a series in Japan called Go Lions. And they combined to make the robot, but it wasn't Voltron. When it was brought over to English and they rewrote the script, that's when they invented Voltron, and then it became a Voltron series. Then they found this other anime, which, a bunch of vehicles make a big robot, and they made that Vehicle Voltron. And there was going to be another series after that, but they cancelled it because Vehicle Voltron didn't do too well. But originally, it was 2 animes that had nothing to do with each other. There was no mention of Voltron, and it's just become this big legacy.
Okay, so it's not like Robotech, because the other thing with Robotech was it was several anime that were spliced together.
Yeah. No, it wasn't like Robotech. But, yeah, it was one of those things. I mean, you have the fucking Valley of the Wind, and we all know the fucking butcher job they did when they translated to English and they did Rise of the Wind. That was a disaster. But fucking the Go Robots anime, they turned into fucking Voltron, and it just took off, and everyone loved it, and it's still fucking going with series to this day.
Damn. What I do know about the classic Voltron came from the Death Battle episode where they pit Voltron up against the Megazord. I forget who won that, but they mentioned that originally they started out with 5 different pilots. One of them gets killed early on, and so the princess takes over.
Yeah. No, the guy gets captured.
Really?
Yeah, because he comes back later, but he decides he doesn't want to come back to the Voltron Force, and I forget what his reasons were.
But yeah, okay, so yeah, the princess took over, and what happened, at least for the first 2 seasons, the princess was more just running the castle / base / starship, and it was the original 5 pilots that had found Voltron to begin with that were running it. It's actually pretty well acted. I mean, like, it's got Josh Keaton, it's got that guy who plays Finn in Adventure Time, it's got that Korean guy who plays Glenn on The Walking Dead, Steven Yeun. That's
Well, he's got more free time now. Spoilers.
Well, kind of I'm actually in the middle. I actually just started up on the 3rd season, so I couldn't tell. So I can't tell you how good this season is yet, but I did like what I saw from the first 2.
I have to check that out because I am a bit weary about these newer Voltron editions. They did a movie series a few years ago, and it really, really kind of missed the point of it. For me, anyway.
Well, there's something you can add to the chopping block for your channel. Reviewing Voltron Legendary Defender and see how it holds up against the original Lion Force.
That would be good. That would be a good idea, actually.
Yeah, actually, you could just start up with a free monthly trial for Netflix. Just binge watch the fuck out of the Voltron series and then talk about it.
Yeah, that's a damn good idea.
The first month of Netflix free.
Yeah, that would be more than enough time, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, and while you're at it, you can also binge watch the 4 episodes of Castlevania.
Oh yeah, fucking definitely.
And I'm actually glad that they're now gonna throw in 8 more episodes. because fuck, 4 episodes. They were damn good. Some of the best animated TV I've ever seen in my fucking life. But 4 episodes just isn't enough, man.
How long are the episodes?
They're standard TV time, so about like 25 minutes.
Yeah, no, 4's definitely not enough.
I think what happened was they were like Netflix was not sure how well it would perform because, well, we've all seen how adapting video games has worked out in the past.
Yeah, you can't blame them for playing safe, but
So
I guess if it leaves you wanting more, they've done a good job anyway.
yeah, they have. I mean, I think a lot of that came down to the fact that they had Warren Ellis writing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Warren Ellis, he is a legend in comic books. He wrote such classics like The Authority, Transmetropolitan, Planetary, Next Wave, Agents of Hate, and he had a really good run on the Thunderbolts. But yeah, I mean, like, it was really good. I'm gonna wonder, are they gonna do like a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure thing? I mean, like, say this Castlevania series does really well, are they gonna go like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure where they have a different season with a different Belmont?
Well, that's how the games run, so they could do.
Yeah. I mean, like, after Trevor's story, like, what's next, Simon?
Yeah. Then
Yeah, there's Simon. If I remember correctly, and this is me going off that Castlevania retrospective that the Angry Video Game Nerd did back in the day. Like Trevor's like actually, if I remember correctly, Leon was actually the first Belmont to encounter Dracula. Well, before
before
he was Dracula, and Trevor was the first one to defeat Dracula, and then you got Simon.
then there was the 2 guys who team up because they have the well, she's not called Bathory in the game, but she's based on Elizabeth Bathory villain, and she was trying to resurrect Dracula. Generations.
Yeah, and there's also Alucard and Richter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
Will actually be kind of epic for them to do it to adapt Symphony of the Night.
Oh, that would be fucking great.
Yeah, if they can do it right.
If they can do it right. Well, if they've impressed you this far, you've got to give me credit.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm going to assume that the next 8 episodes are going to release is going to more or less have the same people behind it.
It should do. They better do.
Yeah, I think it.
The BB.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like, I liked what I saw so far, and I'm hopeful for what comes next.
No, that's good. Good sign.
Yeah.
Very good sign.
And actually, and as far as Netflix's original programming is concerned, they've actually had a pretty good track record with quality.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot more shows on Netflix that I do want to watch, but I just wait for them to get the home release, which fucking takes forever.
Yeah, which one is it? There's like several Netflix shows, man.
Oh, well, I was thinking mostly Daredevil and Jessica Jones. They're my 2 main ones. You know, the Marvel stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But, there's other things I've seen that I wanted to get, but they're not quite ready for home release yet. So I sit here.
Like what, Orange is the New Black, House of Cards?
House of Cards. Not so much into Orange is the New Black, I have to admit. I watched a couple of seasons that was on TV one night. No, a couple of seasons, couple of episodes, and I just wasn't getting into it.
They actually put Orange is the New Black on TV. Wow.
Yeah, it was on Sky TV, which is our version of cable, I guess you could say.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, you probably would really dig House of Cards. It's got David Fincher directing it, and dude, it has Kevin Spacey, that's all.
Yeah, fucking Kevin Spacey's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one I wanted to look into. I'm trying to think what the other fucking series was, but it's completely lost on me. But there's a few Netflix, I've seen the trailers and I think I want to watch that. And I wait and I wait and I wait and I'm still waiting for some of them.
Yeah. Oh boy, what else?
But fucking Daredevil is fucking really good.
First season was excellent. Second season, not as good, but still very good. But good by television standards.
Oh yeah. Plus they fucking nailed the Punisher's casting.
Oh yeah, John Bernthal, he is not playing the Punisher. John Bernthal is the Punisher.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in fact, he did such a good job that now they've greenlit a Punisher series.
Fucking damn right they fucking did. I was thinking they better give him his own fucking series, and sure enough they did.
Yeah, my friend Chris is a big Punisher fan, and he's hyped for it.
Yeah, well, rightfully so.
Well, let's see. What else is there? About the only thing I'm not really sure what else there is on my mind at this point. Oh, Deantay, have you got any interest in catching the fight between Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather this month?
I have not.
I really want to watch this fight. This.
When's that taking place?
26th. Yeah, the fight between McGregor and Mayweather happens on the 26th.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I might give that a go. I'm sure there'll be nothing else on. There's not a lot to watch on TV these days. I'm
gonna go out on a limb and say you've never really had much of an interest in the UFC.
Yep.
I'm right?
Yep. You'd be right.
Yeah. I got a couple friends who are really big UFC fans, and they're saying it's not as good as it used to be. It's like some people are saying it's becoming a little too much like wrestling.
I've actually heard, I've heard people saying that myself.
Yeah, in fact, I actually remember I saw a clip from Joe Rogan's podcast where he was talking about the Mayweather-McGregor match, and he was saying that they're not letting these fights happen organically. They're more engineering them. I mean, he can see why they would go with this, because there's a lot of money to be made from a fight like that.
Yeah.
And hey, UFC is a business and it has to make money. I do not blame them. But I do kind of see what Rogan's point is, and let's not kid ourselves. This is going to make them a lot of money.
Yeah, I might actually check that one out then.
Yeah, this is gonna.
Pretty steps.
This fight is gonna make UFC a whole fuck ton of money. But I think what Rogan was really more concerned about was the precedent it might set for the company. Where instead of
they're gonna have to fucking take the risk though, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if they're chasing a match that makes them a lot of money.
Yeah.
Encourage them to do that. They are, like I said, they're a business. They have to make money. That's what they're here to. That's what they're here for. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, guys. Yeah, UFC fans. That's the thing. They are a business. They are interested in making money. But yeah.
I know CM Punk's time there wasn't very well.
But yeah, I mean, we know this is going to be a very successful. We know this fight is going to be successful. It's going to make them a ton of money, and UFC might start looking at this and saying, "Hey, we made a ton of money by taking our two biggest draws and sticking them in a match. So why don't we do that again and again and again and again?"
Yeah, man. Yeah.
To the point where the fights aren't organic, they just become more engineered.
Is Kimbo Slice still around in that?
Is it Kimbo Slice?
Yeah, was it UFC he went to? He was a street fighter and he went to, I think it was UFC, and he just got destroyed in the ring.
I don't think I've heard of the guy. Let me look him up.
But he's a big fucking guy, eh?
Mixed martial artist, boxer, wrestler, occasional actor. Let's see what he... Oh, he's dead.
Was he?
Dead. Died June 6th last year.
I did not know that.
But yeah,
That's how up to date I am.
So yeah, let's
Yeah,
let's
okay.
He worked with Elite XC, UFC, and yeah.
Okay, so no, he's not in it anymore.
Yeah. What did he already die from? Heart failure after a mass on his liver was also diagnosed.
Bloody hell.
How big? 6'2", 234 pounds. And of course, we're talking UFC. This is, if you think wrestling is brutal, yeah, just try doing UFC.
Fucking CM Punk. I always fucking think of that.
And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe this guy had a couple genetic predispositions towards heart problems. I mean, if he dies from heart failure at 42, considering that he's in UFC, which is a high stress job.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy I guarantee you, this guy had a family history of heart problems. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I just remember he was a fucking street fighter and he used to put his videos on YouTube and they were brutal fights.
Cool.
Yeah. When he went to the UFC and it really didn't fucking work out for him. And he's a fucking big guy, eh? He's not the fucking guy you want to pick a fight with at all.
Nope.
And he can fucking move his punches.
You know, another thing about UFC, another clip from Joe Rogan's podcast I was watching, and he was talking about Brock Lesnar, and he looked up Brock Lesnar's stats, and he was just floored. Like, he was, and he said, like, had Brock gotten the proper training, he would be unbeatable in UFC.
Thing with Brock though is he's a cocky son of a bitch. He doesn't want to listen. This has been shown time and time again. He thinks he's right.
About the only guy he actually listens to is Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
That's why Paul Heyman does his promos for him.
Yeah. Well, Paul Heyman knows how to manage people. He is a fucking damn good manager because he was going to back CM Punk. Even Big Show was going to back Paul Heyman backing CM Punk. There was can't remember what it was over, but Big Show and CM Punk were going to fight over some championship, and Big Show was trying to push for CM Punk to win. He wanted CM Punk to win. He was saying, Paul Heyman's right, let CM Punk win. Of course, Vince McMahon brushed it off because it was Paul Heyman's idea. But Paul Heyman knows how to manage people. He's really good at that.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, the dude ran ECW back in the day.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Absolutely. So it's not surprising if Brock's going to listen to anyone. It's going to be Heyman.
Yeah. But yeah. and yeah, I mean, like, you said, like, Brock doesn't listen to anybody. He's just a cocky son of a bitch. I mean, like, considering he tried his hand at professional football, yeah, you're completely right.
That's right.
Actually, now I gotta ask a question to you. Speaking as a Kiwi,
Yep.
Sam told me this is true. At work, I came across a couple of tourists from New Zealand. One of the guys had like a Dallas Cowboys hat on, and Sam was like, "Yeah, no surprise, Kiwis love sports."
Yep, that would be right.
I mean, like, well, now what Sam told me later also surprised me because I figured, like, considering you guys are like outside of America, the the sport that Kiwis would likely care about would be soccer. To everyone who doesn't live in North America, that's football. But he told me the sport Kiwis go nuts for is rugby.
Yep, that is true. That is true.
You guys go nuts for rugby.
Well, I don't, but everyone else does. It's a big thing over here, man. It is a very big thing.
So rugby in New Zealand is like baseball in America.
Yeah, yeah. It's the biggest sport here, rugby. Easy.
Really?
Really. I mean, we have the fucking sevens held here in Wellington I think it's the end of January, and that's just 2 days of all these different teams from all over the world playing rugby.
Sam actually trolled rugby via pages on Facebook. Because of course he would.
Of course he would.
Must be over in Australia where they go nuts over soccer.
Yeah, I think that's England. I always thought Australia was more cricket, to be honest. But I don't fucking follow sports, so what would I know?
Cricket? Really?
Yeah. You have the fucking one-day games and all that shit over there like crazy.
Fucking Australia, the country made up of people who fistfight kangaroos and wrestle crocodiles.
I could be fucking wrong here, but they have, the one-day games and they go for fucking 8 hours and they bore me to sleep. But that seems to be mostly what I get from over there. Again, I could be completely wrong. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
Started out as a prison colony for English. Their big draw is fucking cricket.
I swear to God, I think that's what it is.
Enjoyed aristocracy. Fucking hell!
I'm fucking telling you.
It's just like, I'm baffled. Especially because I know for a fact that soccer is like the biggest sport in the world. Like people go nuts for the World Cup.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, the only fucking sport that I hear a lot of from Aussie is fucking cricket, and it's these fucking one-day games. And they're on TV all the time, and that's it.
Oh my God.
I hardly see any fucking soccer games from Aussie. I'm not kidding.
Oh my lord. You know what? This is why I like having Celtic origins, because we go nuts for combat sports. Yeah, why do you think there's so many Irish and Scottish people in boxing, wrestling, and MMA?
No, that's true. No, true.
Actually, there's a... Oh man, I actually watched this one GameStop video where it was Danny O'Dwyer, and he actually grabbed an interview with Sheamus. And just talking about, it's great that made a fellow Irishman out here in America, because so far from home. And he talks about how Irish people get screwed in combat sports, and he brings up that one fight in the Olympics with Michael Conlan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Sheamus was like, "Yeah, that was a complete joke." And he was, "Oh, but the thing about Irish people is when we get screwed, we don't take it lying down. We get mad, we get pissy." And Conlan's all like, "No, I won the fight. I won the fight."
Oh shit.
Oh my lord. Are we intoxicated yet, by the way?
I think we might be a little, just a tad.
Yeah, I already had a glass of blue curacao, and now I'm like halfway through a glass of vodka. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? You wanna know how fucking Irish I am? I can get completely smashed and I will not wake up hungover.
Yeah.
So, either I got one really strong liver, or it's just youth, or I've got that high a tolerance for alcohol. Oh.
No, it could be a combination of all three.
Possibly. And speaking of drunk Irishmen, that episode of Father Ted when they're doing their Lenten vows, where Ted gives up smoking, Dougal gives up rollerblading, and Jack has to give up drinking, and he actually gets sober.
That's right. Where are the other two?
What? Priest! Don't tell me you're still on the fucking island!
He's remembering his words. He's floor, gobshite.
And we find out like he's been drunk for 12 years straight. Like, what is Jack's liver made of if he can be that drunk for that long? Or how about that he can still be drunk and still know what a drink is just by clanking? Jake got drinks out in 1991.
You did. That's right. I love the fucking one when he goes to AAA.
No, not AAA. It's Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yes.
And then he goes to a bar and the guy from AA says, "No, Father, I'm not gonna let you drink."
He goes to the fucking ambulance. Oh, shit. What's that one when they think he's dead because he drank the floor cleaner, but it just put him in a coma?
Oh, yes. and then they find out that he left it, and then Ted and Dougal found out they left him a ton of money, but they had to spend one night with him before he's buried.
Yeah.
And they're reminiscing of all the good memories with Jack, and then Ted starts to go poetic and stuff, and
Shut the fuck up!
and then they say, you know what? Let's go get some more floor cleaner, lots of floor cleaner, and let's leave it all over the house so we don't lose it.
That's right. Oh, that was a fucking brilliant show.
Oh man, yeah. Oh man, you know, I go. Yes, I fucking love Father Ted.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it kind of sucks that. Do you know that the guy who played Ted, Dermot Morgan, he died like after the last episode?
Yeah, and it was mid season 3. Yeah, it was the car crash.
Yeah, and it's just like, and I mean, like, you can say there might have been more of the show, but he actually talked about that he wanted to leave the show because he didn't want to get typecasted.
Yeah. Well, season 3 was meant to be the last, but they only got I think it was 4 episodes out, and they did the smart thing by finishing it there, not replacing him, because it sucks that there's not more. But if there was more, it just wouldn't be the same show.
No, it would. It was kind of like when when Chris Berry left Red Dwarf and they had to replace Rimmer.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't bad, but it just did not feel like Red Dwarf.
No.
And not like that, they replaced him with Kachansky, and it wasn't even the same actress.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
They're bringing that back as well.
I'll say this: even at its worst, Red Dwarf was still entertaining, at least.
Oh yeah. It was never a bad show.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're bringing that back. I saw somewhere. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, they got it on a special channel called Dave.
Dave.
Yes, it was they got it was on a new channel, and it was a new channel, the Four Red Dwarf. Give you 3 guesses why it's named Dave. Lister.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's had a kind of I think like a sporadic publication schedule though. Like it doesn't, like they don't put out new episodes very frequently, I think. Yeah.
Probably won't last then.
Now, speaking of replacing actors and it not being the same, Deantay, do you have any attachment to Doctor Who?
Not in recent years.
I mean, like, ever.
Yes, back when I was about 12, I used to watch it almost religiously.
Yeah, so how thrilled were you to hear that the new Doctor is going to be a woman?
To be honest, I don't care. But again, it's something that people just blow up. You know, you got your fucking one's like, oh, yay, this is all feminist power, blah, 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 blah. And you got the other side, and it doesn't bother me. I mean, maybe if I was watching it now, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think I dropped out of Doctor Who, like, somewhere after the first 2 seasons of the Matt Smith run. And I just...
Yeah.
And so I didn't really have much of a dog in that fight.
The thing is... sorry, you go.
The Doctor Who fan base is fucking toxic now.
Well, what fucking fan base isn't?
Well, there's you could say that, but there are certain fan bases that are more toxic than others.
Yeah, I got me there. Yeah, all right. I'm fucking well out of Doctor Who, so I wouldn't know. But if I remember fucking correctly, I'm not sure what these new ones were, but Doctor Who was meant to be a celestial type being who can take on any form or shape that it desires. So in that retrospect, him being a woman, maybe he wants to experiment a little bit. I don't fucking know. It doesn't fucking bother me.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't really care. I had no dog in the fight, and I just spammed that. So I just spammed that one clip from Planet of the Apes just for lulz.
I saw that.
Yeah. If you guys want to know which one it is, just go in YouTube search, type in "Damn You All to Hell."
Fucking legendary movie, seeing that one.
Yeah, and Charlton Heston fucking sells that line.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, this female fucking casting, it's a bit of a... It's almost a taboo topic now, because fucking, no matter what you say, it pisses off fucking so many people.
Yeah, although I think there is a little bit of a case to be made, given like how pathologically PC the BBC has gotten. Like when they're, let me just put it this way: when you're showing black redcoats during the Revolutionary War, yeah, I think you guys have taken it a little too far.
True.
Although, yeah, I know yes, guys, I know there were slaves that fought for the British during the war, but I'm talking like them being like regular soldiers in the British Army at that time. And they're not like freed slaves; they're like regular redcoats. It's just like, but yeah, I don't really give a shit about Doctor Who. Rick and Morty's my jam now.
I've still got to see that.
You are like at all? Oh my god, dude! God, Rick and Morty. I'm gonna next to Castlevania. It and Castlevania are the best shows on TV right now.
I'll take your word for
the
it.
best animated shows on TV. Yeah.
I'll add it to, as Sam would say, I'll make my own fucking list and I'll add it to the list. Now, me and Sam have a fucking list now.
Well, Sam's also got me making a fucking list too. And at the
You know what we should fucking do
Yeah, like
once he gets back?
Yeah.
We should fucking compare lists.
Yeah, compare our lists. Compare. Oh, with Sam, that'll be like a 5-hour video.
Oh, that's true. Okay, he has to fucking cut his list in half. No, he has to fucking cut his list in a fucking quarter.
Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure like Sam's got a whole cabinet, not a cabinet drawer, an entire cabinet filled.
He still hasn't fucking gone around to see fucking Predator or Terminator.
My fucking God! What is wrong with him?
I don't know.
Sam, if you're listening, we still love you. We are just taking the piss at you because that's what friends do.
I don't know. He's fucking tough as nails. He can take it.
But yeah, right. So yeah, currently where my list stands, it's like Outrageous Fortune, With Nail and I, Ghost World. He also wants me to check out Crowded House. Yeah. Speaking of which, he told me that Crowded House is a band that Kiwis and Aussies fight over who owns.
Yeah. Oh God, do they ever? They do that for fucking Dragon as well.
For what? What?
Dragon. There's a band called Dragon.
Really?
Same fucking story. Aussies, we own it. Kiwis, we own it.
So like, I mean, like, you own it. I mean, like, he told me like with Crowded House, it's because Neil Finn, who writes most of the music, is a Kiwi, but most of the band members are Aussie. Is it kind of the same setup?
Yeah, I think a couple of the people from Dragon were born in New Zealand, the lead singers, and they got the other members from Aussie or some shit like that.
Speaking of Kiwis, I mean, like, your biggest celebrities are people like Lord or Sam Neill.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Oh wait, no. There's also the Concords,
Oh yeah.
which Sam is not a fan of. He says their sense of humor is too dry for him.
Yeah, I'm not particularly a fan of theirs either.
Yeah, I ran into an Aussie lady at work, and she said told her I've got a couple friends who are Kiwis, and she says, "Oh, I love the Concords." I told her my guys are more fans of Outrageous Fortune.
Fuck, I was working on I had this job a few years ago, and the guy I was working with, he would not shut up about the fucking Concords. Fuck me. On and on and on.
Wow, are they really that big out in New Zealand?
It seems so.
Yeah, because it seems like out here in the States, you sort of have to be in the right circles to know who they are. Like they really got a huge following within North American nerd culture. Which is why you got Jermaine Clements making an appearance on Rick and Morty, I guess. Well, not just nerd culture; they're also big in comedy circles out here too. Which doesn't surprise me. But of course, out here in the States, the king shit of funny music is, of course, Weird Al.
Oh yeah.
Actually, speaking of Weird Al, do you remember back when they had that Transformers cartoon and I think it was like Transformers Animated?
Yeah.
They called it. There was an episode that had Wreck-Gar. He's voiced by Weird Al. And I shit you not, he's close to the end of the episode, he's driving he's driving a garbage barge that's full of these nanobots that keep eating everything in sight, and Ratchet is just yelling and saying, "You wouldn't dare do something that stupid, would you?" And Redgar goes, "I am Redgar. I dare to be stupid."
Yeah, because that's from they put that fucking song in the Transformers movie.
Yeah.
The animated one, not the fucking new one.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but yeah,
Yeah.
Here's what gets really funny. I actually looked it up, and they were originally planning to get Eric Idle to do the voice, but they couldn't because he was busy with a movie, so they got Weird Al instead.
It fucking worked out for them.
Yeah. Oh man, they actually went. They just actually went there. That's referential humor on several different levels.
Yeah.
Like that is an esoteric referential joke.
And fucking Rick guy is supposed to be fucking like Asian, and they're living in a fucking junkyard. And they're fucking scavenging and.
Oh man, I remember I saw that when I was like 11 or 12. It was back when Blockbuster was still up, and this was around the time when my parents would drop me and my brother off at our grandma's for a weekend, and they would just let us rent the movies from Blockbuster, and we found the Transformers movie.
The movie that destroyed children's childhoods. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, like, it is a very violent movie for being based off a very goofy kids cartoon.
The first 20 minutes are so fucking dark and grim. I mean, was it the fucking shuttle attack? You had Ironhide,
Prowl, Wheeljack, and
Wheeljack, Brawn. He gets fucking half his fucking shoulder blown off. Fucking Prowl's eyes explode and smoke out.
And that, of course, that's fucking kid stuff compared to what happens to Optimus.
I know. There was one fucking scene though in between those two which went over a lot of people's head, and it was RC, and she's dragging in two bodies,
Yeah, one of them's
and it's fucking Wheeljack and Windcharger, and they're just fucking completely fucked up.
Yes. Yeah, Jesus. And then and then you got Starscream, who just dumps Megatron and all the other wounded Decepticons and leaves them to die.
Yeah, that's right. They froze him out of Astro Train.
Yeah, and then Unicron converts him into Galvatron, and he just disintegrates Starscream.
Yep. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about Beast Wars being fucking dark, which it is, but damn.
I tell you one fucking episode of Transformers, and this one was actually taken off the air back in the day. It was pre the movie. It was when Optimus Prime was in charge, and I can't remember how they encounter it, but they get like this fucking metal-eating virus, and it's a take on the flesh-eating virus, and whoever gets it starts eating their metal away, and one of the Decepticons has half his face missing as his fucking exoskeleton, and Jesus, it looked terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm pretty sure that, yeah, I mean, like, it's a show about robots beating each other up. I mean, like, that's how I think they got away with some of the dark stuff in Beast Wars, because they're robots, they're not really people, so it's okay. Hey, but I mean, dude, you got all the time Waspinator gets blown to pieces. I mean, yeah, he puts them back together though, but yeah. But I mean, season 2, you got Scorponok and Pterosaur getting thrown into a lava pit, and
that's right, and they fucking melt.
Yeah, they melt and they get tossed into a magma pit and melt and die. And before that, you had Optimus getting blown up in an escape pod thanks to Megatron.
Yeah.
Then you got all that shit that Rampage does.
Yeah.
He's a sick fuck. Oh, and then there's that one episode where where Tarantulas has Cheetor in a web, and he's gonna say, "I'm gonna eat you," and it's not because I need the nourishment. I just like eating.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Dude, that's fucking terrifying if you're a kid.
It is. And fucking I remember the last episode. It was I think it was 3 parts, and it was all Nemesis when they find the actual Decepticon ship.
Yeah.
And they're just fucking blowing the shit out of everything. And Tigatron and Air Razor, they'd fuse into that one robot, and it was all powerful, but it fucking completely obliterates them. There was the Stingray, I forget his name, he was a Maximal.
Depth charge.
Yeah.
Yeah, he takes him.
He gets blown up, and then you see his parts floating in the water.
Yeah, he gets blown up along with Rampage.
Yep. I mean, Beast Wars is violent, but Transformers the movie was fucking dark. It was actually quite graphic in what was happening. You got the details of it.
Yeah. Like, that's fucking traumatizing.
Yeah, it is.
In fact, there was one day on Twitter where one of the trending hashtags was traumatic kids movies or traumatic childhood films. I forget which, and I think it was like top 3 traumatic childhood films, and I put down Land Before Time, Beast Wars, and An American Tail.
Oh yeah,
Not
good choices.
Beast Wars, the Transformers movie.
Yeah. Good choices.
Yeah. And those. Man, if you're a kid, those will fucking mess you up, man.
I think mine would be, I'd go with Transformers the movie, because I went to see that in the fucking cinema when I was 4, and I remember not liking it. I didn't like it, but I like it now, but I remember watching it when I was 4, and I remember I did not like it. I wanted it to fucking end. I'd also put down Dark Crystal.
Oh yeah, that thing can. Yeah, if you're a kid, that parts of that movie are nightmare fuel.
And for my last one, it would be a toss-up between Never Ending Story and Labyrinth.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those. Yeah, there are parts of those movies that are also nightmare fuel, very much so.
Yeah, the fucking Labyrinth, the pink things that can take off their heads.
Okay, now I did not see Labyrinth as a kid. I saw it.
Okay.
I didn't see Labyrinth as a kid though, but I saw it as a young adult.
Yeah.
So to me, watching that was just funny.
Oh yeah, it's fucking funny now, but fucking I remember watching.
Because I got a sick, twisted Doug Stanhope sense of humor.
Oh, it is funny now. It fucking absolutely is funny now, but when you're a kid,
when you're an adult.
Yeah. But they're fucking taking off their heads and they're playing soccer with it, and they're throwing at Jennifer Connelly's character, thinking her name was Sarah. And it's just fucking, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, if you're a kid, that's probably going to freak you out, but if you're an adult, it's just going to make you laugh.
Yeah. I am looking forward for the Dark Crystal series, though, because that's going to be all the puppets again.
Really?
Yeah. It's not going to be CGI, it's actually going to be the puppets that they used, like the original movie, so that should be quite good.
That's good. I know. Yeah, although, if you want something that's Transformers that can get violent, Transformers Prime, that show can be pretty, I wouldn't say it's as graphic as the film or as grim as Beast Wars, but it has its violent moments. Like the first story arc has Starscream jabbing his hand in a cliff jumper and killing him.
Wow. Cliff jumper.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Cliff jumper.
And keep in mind, this was like the first episode.
They killed Cliff Jumper off in the first episode.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Oh, if you really want to think they're bastards, Cliff Jumper was being voiced by The Rock.
No.
I am serious. They got The Rock to do Cliff Jumper's voice.
You'd think he'd fucking last a little longer then, because he was he fucking made it through the movie after getting eaten by Unicron. He should get a fucking medal for that. And they kill him off in the first episode of that.
Yeah. And then, as if that's not bad enough, Megatron tosses a dark energon shard into Cliffjumper's body, and he rises up as a Transformer zombie.
Okay, I've got to watch it just for fucking that. I want to see this.
Although a lot of Transformers fans actually consider Prime to have the best version of Megatron, actually. And what's really cool is that they got Peter Cullen and Frank Welker to come back and do Optimus and Megatron again.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, there's also, and it's also full of tons of references and Easter eggs to other Transformers shows and a little bit of nod to the films, because Bumblebee through most of the show, he doesn't speak. He just makes all these beeps and whines and stuff. What that's supposed to be a reference to.
That's kind of off-putting, to be honest. But I'm still gonna fucking check that out.
Yeah. And they actually gave RC a badass makeover. Like now she turns into a blue motorcycle, and she's kind of more of a ninja bot.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And they got Ratchet voiced by Jeffrey Combs.
Nice.
Yeah. And Starscream voiced by Steve Bloom.
Oh, that will work.
Yeah.
Speaking of fucking RC, have you ever seen fucking Headmasters, the 3-part episode?
I don't believe so.
Okay, it's what it is they find this fucking alien. Couple of aliens are going to war with each other, and they're really advanced on technology. And they take the heads of certain Autobots and they turn them into bodysuits. And the bodysuits can transform back into the heads, but the people who are in the bodysuits sit in the person's head. I'm not entirely sure how the fuck that's supposed to work, but it works. Anyway, Daniel, who spikes some in the series, he gets badly injured. And RC volunteers, to donate her head.
Oh, I see where this
for
is
this
going. I see where this is going, man.
Holy shit, the conversations those two have afterwards are so fucking awkward. And Daniel's going, I'm so glad I'm inside you forever, RC. And RC's going, oh, Daniel, there's no one else I'd want inside me but you. And the fucking hell, it is so fucking awkward to watch.
Gonna live. Intercourse.
Jesus Christ.
Ladle.
I wonder what they were fucking thinking when they were recording these lines together, eh?
I guarantee you, no one got through that recording session without nearly losing their shit laughing.
I know. Oh God, I hope there's a fucking bloopers reel somewhere. I'd love to fucking see that.
Oh, if you want to hear something really interesting, you know how like Waspinator sort of got popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. When they were making Beast Wars, they were contractually obligated to include all the robots in every episode so as to promote the toys. But initially, they had problems with Waspinator because of his sentence structure and the voice Scott McNeil had to use and the way he had to speak it. It took too long to do his lines, so they would try to invent any way to get Waspinator out of the episode, like get him crushed, get him blown up, get him possessed by a ghost, anything it took to get rid of him. But it ended up making him a fan favorite character because he became a comedic relief character, and because he kept getting blown up all the time, you just couldn't help but feel sorry for him a little bit.
Yeah.
And so they were originally thinking about killing him off for season 2, but they had to kill characters off to make room for new toys. But the writer said, you know what? We kind of don't want to kill him anymore. You see, people really like him, and he's got a huge fan base. So can we please keep him? And that's why Scorponok and Pterosaur got killed.
I don't even remember Pterosaur that well, anyway. And Scorponok, all I remember him is he could fucking shoot missiles out of his claws. That was it.
Yeah, well, Pterosaur was basically Starscream, but not as good, and Scorponok, well, he had kind of had his things. He was like fiercely loyal to Megatron, but he was also kind of an idiot.
Yeah, well, they fucking got that fucking ant who would call Megatron the Queen to replace him.
Inferno.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. And then they got Quick Strike.
Oh god.
So he's got that damn whole Texas accent. I want to kill everybody.
That's fucking cowboy.
The thing is, like, they didn't reprogram him at all. That he just came out of his pod like that.
That's right. Because Quicksilver was supposed to be the other one they got, and he was the complete opposite. He's
they got
fucking
Silverbolt.
Silverbolt. That was it.
Yeah.
Not Quicksilver, Silverbolt.
Yeah. Oh, if you really want to see an entertaining video, there's a video where Scott McNeil at a con panel, he does Silverbolt, Rat Trap, Waspinator, and Dinobot ordering cheeseburgers at a drive-thru.
Wow.
And there's and another funny one. There was a BotCon, it's the big convention for Transformers. Yeah, that exists. They had entries for the Transformers Hall of Fame, and Waspinator got nominated, and the competition he was up against guys like Jazz, Grimlock, and who else was it? Prowl?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, getting nominated with those guys, that's pretty cool enough, but
Oh
he
yeah.
actually won.
Nice.
But here's where it gets funny. There's a video where someone asks Scott McNeil, what would Waspinator's acceptance speech be? And you should check it out for yourself, but the way it basically goes is, I won? Waspinator never wins anything!
That's actually a pretty good fucking voice, man.
Yeah.
I have to check that out.
Yeah, that is pretty funny, but yeah.
If I remember correctly, though, at the end of fucking Beast Wars, he gets hailed as a king by the primates.
Oh yeah, and he finally quits the Predacons because he's sick of getting blown up all the time.
Which was a good call because the fucking Nemesis would have killed him.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'll say this though. I mean, like, I don't think Transformer villains would get as dark and as twisted as guys like Tarantulas or Rampage. Like, these guys are practically serial killers.
No, yeah.
I mean, well, Rampage is definitely a serial killer. Tarantulas is more like a mad scientist. Like, emphasis on mad.
I'm trying to think back to some of the other villains from the animated one, because no, you'd be right. The Beast Wars were the better ones, darker ones.
Yeah, I mean, like, they weren't just dark; they were fucking grim. I mean, like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just, yeah, but they're just making a character like that is as messed up, that is like as sick in the head as like Tarantulas or Rampage. I mean, like, that's just. I don't think you have not. I haven't seen anyone else do that, and I haven't seen them do anything else like that in another Transformers series. Like, none of them get as dark as those guys.
Okay, Rampage. If I'm remembering correctly, wasn't he supposed to be a clone of Starscream's soul because it was indestructible?
Yeah, it was more like their attempt to replicate Starscream's indestructible spark.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, not only did it work, he also came out completely twisted. Although supplemental material seems to imply that was due to all the experiments they conducted on him. Like, I mean, if you're gonna find out if you made an indestructible transformer, you're gonna want to run some pretty rigorous tests to see how indestructible he really is, right?
True. Remind you, you got fucking Waspinator who's already fucking proven it.
So yeah, I think we can imply that they did some really the Maximals did some really twisted things to him.
Oh, that was and that's why he fucking hates them.
Yeah.
Because there's that whole fucking episode. It's like fucking Predator. He's stalking them in the jungle. He's stalking Silverboat and Black Widow. Black Arachnia. Fucking hell, I need to get these names right.
Yeah. I only know it because I binge watched the show again recently.
I haven't seen it in years.
I remembered how good it was. And
yeah, she was a Black Widow, but Black Arachnia.
Yeah, she turned into a Black Widow, but so you weren't that far off.
I wasn't that far off that time.
But yeah, it's just like he was stalking them like Predator, and he gets Silverbolt in his claws, and he says, "Scream, just scream," and he's like, I mean, you gotta hand it to Megatron for realizing he's gotta keep him on a leash.
Yeah.
So he tears out a bit of his spark and puts it in a box to keep him under control.
And then the fucking next episode is when Dinobot dies, I think.
Yeah, it is. I think it is. Yeah, it is. Then that episode after that, yeah, that's the one where Dinobot finally dies, and oh fuck. I mean, he goes out like a hero, but fuck.
That was an emotionally draining episode.
Yeah.
What I didn't like is how they fucking cloned him, though, because I didn't like that cloning idea at all.
I think the suits made him do that just so they could throw out a new toy.
Well, he had the fucking transmetal look, so yeah, I can see why. Yeah, so they could do a fucking transmetal Dinobot toy.
Yeah, because you gotta remember it's a good show, but it was also basically
an advertisement. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, speaking of interesting takes on characters, the Prime series, it's got a very interesting take on Soundwave.
Oh?
Well, Soundwave in this one, he turns into a Predator drone, and he never speaks.
Okay.
Yeah, he never speaks. He only makes gestures, or you'll see something flash on his faceplate. In fact,
does he have the fucking cassettes, Laserbeak, Ravage, and
Laserbeak, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, but he almost never speaks. There's he only does it in one episode, and all he says is "Soundwave superior, Autobots inferior."
That's a fucking line from the fucking movie.
It is. Like I said, Prime is full of references and Easter eggs to other Transformers properties.
Yeah. I'm just trying. Constructicons inferior, Soundwave superior. That was the original line.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and the third episode is them hunting down Predacons, and in one episode, Bulkhead says we might have Beast Wars on our hands.
Oh, they brought back the fucking Predacons.
Yeah, I know. But these are more like the original Predacons from the original cartoon.
Yeah, that's why I meant they make Predaking.
Well, actually, Predaking is his own transformer, and he's not a combiner, and he turns into a giant mechanical dragon.
Okay. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and what else is there? I mean, there's one episode where you hear a stinger from the touch. Yeah, it's just basically the guitar part. There's no lyrics, but you know the tune. You know it's the touch.
Yeah, Stan fucking Bush.
Yeah, and during one fight between Megatron and Optimus, it's one shall stand and one shall fall.
Oh god, that line is so overused now. I liked it, but it's so fucking overused. Even fucking Michael Bay uses it.
If you want to get, I actually kind of want to see Age of Extinction just because I found out that John DiMaggio was in that movie.
I watched Age of Extinction, and the reason I watched it is because it had the fucking Dinobots, and I wanted to see the Dinobots for a while, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to fucking see it. The Dinobots are in the last 15 minutes, and what they do is cool, but that is fucking false advertising. All the trailers, all the posters, Grimlock riding Optimus, it's fucking over in a fucking, you blink and you'll miss it type thing.
Damn. Eclipse is, yeah. I'm kind of sold on just because of that character John DiMaggio plays.
Yeah.
Because I actually saw clips of him. He seems like, from what I can tell, it looks like here's what my theory is. This character, the way John DiMaggio speaks in that movie, I think they originally wanted to get Jason Statham, but they couldn't find him, and so...
yeah, that might be
John
true,
DiMaggio,
actually.
and they said, hey, can you maybe, try and do your best Jason Statham impression?
Well, they did approach Statham for a part in that movie, but he turned it down, so,
Seriously? That actually happened!
Yeah, they did. There was a lot of rumors that Statham was going to be in it, and he said that he was approached, but he turned it down.
Holy shit! Yeah, I guarantee it. The guy that John DiMaggio plays, that was originally intended for Jason Statham.
Yeah, you're probably right there.
Yeah, because the way he talks, it sounds like he's trying to do a Jason Statham impression. But I mean, God bless him, he's trying. But it's John DiMaggio. And they also had Ken Watanabe playing a samurai Autobot named Drip.
Yeah, it was Drift, and you cannot fucking understand him, and it's not his fault. It's just the way the recording has come out, because he can speak decently, but his voice is so fucking muffled.
The man speaks fluent English.
Yeah, but his voice is so fucking muffled you can't hear him.
Yeah,
and I swear to God, they were saying
all the filters and stuff they did in post production.
Yeah. And I swear to God, they said to him, try to sound as Japanese as you can. I'm sure that's what Michael Bay fucking told him.
As if he already his English is pretty well accented anyway.
Yeah, it is. But I'm sure Michael Bay just fucking said, sound as Japanese as you can. And they didn't record his voice well at all.
If I was like Ken Watanabe, I'd be like, you do know I'm Japanese, right? I had said I literally cannot. The only way I could sound more Japanese is if I spoke in broken English.
Well, this is fucking Michael Bay we're talking about. I mean, he says that he claims to be the one who made fucking Sean Connery with The Rock. I'm like, fuck off. Sean Connery's been around for fucking years.
They also had John Goodman playing one guy.
Hound, he's fucking great. John Goodman's always fucking great. Yeah. What I did like about Age of Extinction, I mean, it gets a lot of crap, but it actually felt like a fucking Transformers movie. The Transformers were the fucking center. Once they come in, you fucking see lots of them, and John Goodman as Hound fucking makes up for a lot of that. He's really good in it. The movie all around is your typical crap Transformers, but yeah. As far as the series goes, it's one of the stronger ones.
Although the bar for quality for that is pretty fucking low.
Pretty fucking, like I said, it's still a fucking crap movie. There's no fucking argument there.
Yeah. Let's check how long we've been going. We've been going for almost 2.5 hours, man.
Nice.
Damn. So, feel like anything else, or do you feel like we can cap it off saying that, you know what, Age of Extinction isn't bad by the movie standards, but considering how low the bar is set for that series, that is not saying much.
No. I will say, if you have to see one of the live actions, go for Age of Extinction. If you have to.
And
if it's on your fucking bucket list.
Well, you should probably see the first one for some context. Although...
No, you don't really need to.
No, forget it. Just skip the first three and go straight to Age of Extinction, because it's not worth suffering through Shia LaBeouf.
No, it's not. And Age of Extinction works well on its own. It's almost a soft reboot, so yeah,
because
good.
Shia LaBeouf fucked up his whole career. For whatever reason.
I'm not famous anymore.
I don't know. I forget the impetus for how he got kicked off in the first place.
I don't know. He's fucking crazy. He's a nuts guy.
Yeah, he just like went out of his. What happened? Like, did he just? I forget what happened there, but yeah, he fucked up big time. He got kicked out, so they couldn't use him anymore. So they decided, you know what? Let's see if Mark Wahlberg's available. Yeah.
Well, Megan Fox came back. Well, not in Transformers, but she had a fight with Michael Bay, and somehow she got pulled back from Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Although I will say the second one is definitely better. At least it feels like it's the Out of the Shadows feels like a live action version of the original cartoon. Like it feels just as goofy. And you know what?
Yeah,
I will say this: Seamus as Rocksteady, it's not as bad as you would think.
Nice.
Now I will say this: Seamus can act. That does not mean he is good at it, though. He just basically won by not failing. Which, for a wrestler, that is the best you can hope for.
That's true.
Kind of the same. Same thing with Dave Bautista in Guardians of the Galaxy. He just won by not. He was just succeeding by not failing.
And in Spectre, he has no fucking lines.
Yeah.
Well, actually, he may have one or two, but they're so fucking short. He's just there for the fucking muscle because he plays that assassin.
No, that's Gamora. Drax is just muscle.
Yeah.
He's just.
No, I meant in Spectre. Dave Bautista.
That guy. Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, Spectre. I
Yeah.
forgot. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, like with guys like when you're getting wrestlers into acting, yeah, there's only two ways it'll work out. One, they're either playing themselves, like Roddy Piper in They Live. Classic movie, by the way.
Yeah.
They're either playing themselves like Roddy Piper, or they are just not failing. They say their lines clearly. They deliver them how they're supposed to. They don't fail. Most wrestlers are not The Rock, and even The Rock didn't get there overnight.
No, fucking Doom. Jesus, he's horrible in that.
Oh no. Scorpion King.
Oh yes, Scorpion King.
Yeah, but yeah, with the Fast and the Furious 4 and what else has he done? Moana, he's actually improved a lot.
Yeah, he has.
He's gotten better at it, but like I said, he didn't get there overnight.
No, he didn't, because he started acting fucking back in 2001 with. 2001.
The Scorpion King, that was his first movie.
Well, technically it'd be The Mummy Returns.
Yeah, that's right. The Mummy Returns, and then The Scorpion King. Well, Scorpion King, where he has a major starring role.
Yeah, that was his first big role.
Yeah. Like it's. Yeah, hell, even Jesse Ventura. I mean, he was basically playing himself in Predator.
Yeah, he was fucking good at it, but yeah, he was just playing himself.
Yeah, like I said, if you're gonna put a wrestler in a movie, just have them be themselves, or just hope that they don't fuck up their lines. That's as good as you can expect it.
there is proof that Dave Bautista isn't that good an actor. There's a movie he did with another wrestler, Rob Van Dam.
Oh, yeah.
It's this fucking crappy fucking action movie, and they're trying to be dramatic in it.
Well, from what I hear, that their acting is the least of that movie's problems. It's just that movie screams low budget.
Yeah. It's a fucking Red Brown movie.
Hey, at least with Red Brown, you'll get him firing on a comically oversized gun, screaming his lungs off.
What's that? That's true, but the guy who played the original Hulk in the series, those two did the movie, and they had that crying scene together.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what's his name?
Oh, boy,
I forget his name.
Most of the time when you try getting wrestlers to act, you get Hulk Hogan, you get John Cena, or you get, that's about it. And I'm not gonna count the Scooby-Doo, those direct-to-DVD animated movies they were in, because they were just basically playing themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, they were literally playing themselves.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, funny thing about that first Scooby-Doo WWE movie, only in Scooby-Doo can Vince McMahon be the good guy.
He was never a good face. Never.
Yeah, no, yeah. And then you get, but one of the seasons that really gets goofy, like, there's the Flintstones one they did. Yes, I actually watched it. I'm that morbidly curious, guys. I watched the one they did with the Flintstones, and oh man, you got John Cena Stone and the Bella Twins as the Boulder Twins, and CM Punk Rock and Henry Marble Henry.
Marble Henry.
It's Mark Henry. and you got what was it? Rey Mysterio stuff. I forget the name they gave to Rey Mysterio in that. And of course, Undertaker's just Undertaker. And it's implied that, and the whole move, and Mr. McMahon Vince McMahon is in there as Mr. McMagma.
Oh my fucking god.
And I shit you not, in that movie, Fred and Barney are the ones who invent professional wrestling. Fred and Barney invent professional wrestling.
Jesus Christ.
Then you got the one with the Jetsons.
They did a Jetsons one?
Yes, they did. They did one with the Jetsons, and it's far in the future. What happens is that Big Show gets frozen, and they thaw him out in the future, and wrestlers have all been replaced with robots.
Oh god.
There's a Seth Rollins robot, a Sheamus robot, a Roman Reigns.
That sounds like fucking nightmare fuel.
What?
That sounds like fucking nightmare fuel.
And then the Jetsons try to go back in time to get the wrestlers to take Big Show back to the past, and when they get back, Big Show is taking over the world.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, let me take a look who's in. Let me take a look who they have. Yeah, it's got Alicia Fox, the Usos, Sheamus, Stardust, Dolph Ziggler. And like in the future, they all have robot versions of themselves, and like the Seth Rollins bot actually has a good line. This is an unsanctioned match. And the Big Show turns the wrestling robots into his own personal army, and oh, and in this movie, Sheamus actually the champion.
Was that during his title run, or?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Although, while on there's an interesting factoid. I came across a Conor McGregor interview where he's talked about like back in the day he actually trained along with Sheamus. And back like the and when I say trained, I mean like they went to the same gym and stuff. At least that's what I assume.
Yeah.
And well, there, like, Sheamus was talking about, like, how he was going to go to the WWE and he was going to become world champion, and Conor was like, yeah, go. Yeah, you do that, man. And then Sheamus leaves Ireland, and 6 months later, Conor's watching TV and he sees Sheamus as the WWE champion. He's like, okay, I got respect for him for doing what he said he was going to do.
Fair enough.
And also in that GameSpot interview with Sheamus, Daniel Dwyer actually asked him about what he thought of Conor McGregor, and he said, like, he says a lot of controversial things. He sounds like he wants a job at the WWE, which, let's be honest, that would never happen.
No.
Makes way too much money with the UFC.
A lot of people seem to go between WWE and UFC for some reason.
Well, like I said, UFC looks like it's getting more and more like WWE these days.
Yeah.
Like it's less about the fights and the fights are still important, but they're throwing a lot more theatrics. But and of course you got the fighters trash talking each other. Yeah.
I'm going to have to check out that fight at the end of the month. 26. I'll probably chase that one for me.
That's the 26th. That's when the Mayweather-McGregor fight goes down.
Alright. I'll mark that on the calendar.
Yeah. The smart money seems to be that it's going to be on Floyd because it's boxing, and Conor's background is mainly in jiu-jitsu. It's let me put it this way, if it goes long, Floyd is gonna win. If it's over quickly, Conor wins.
So it's might be a clear black and white match, really.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I was a betting man, I'd put the smart money on Floyd Mayweather just because it's boxing. Floyd's been doing it his whole career. He knows it way better than Conor does. I mean, don't get me wrong, Conor's a talented fighter, and he probably could hold his own in a boxing match. But like I said, his background's in jiu-jitsu. It's a different style, different discipline.
Yeah.
Although, Floyd's allowing Conor to box with 8-pound gloves, I think. Which is interesting.
That is interesting.
So, yeah. But this is a good... We've been going on for, like, almost 2 hours and 40 minutes. We are close to approaching the 3-hour mark, man.
All right.
Yeah, I think this is a good. I think this is a good spot for us to leave off. Yes, if I sound loopy, it's because I've got blue curacao and vodka in my system right now, so I'm probably a little tipsy.
Yeah, you got a good buzz going. It's all good.
Yeah, we're not as drunk as Alex Jones on the Joe Rogan podcast. Psychic vampires.
Oh my god.
Alright, so be with us next week with me and Deantay. Hey, same YouTube time, same YouTube channel. Anything to say, Deantay?
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.